Hey guys, welcome back for another video. A very important video here today, talking about rehearsal swings, how to do proper rehearsals during your practice sessions. So when I say that, I don't mean this is the only way to do your rehearsals, but we're going to talk about ways that I see that are more efficient than others when trying to make changes in your golf swing. So a very common mistake I see people do when they make rehearsal swings is I see a lot of this. Like back and forth jittery movements that don't really do anything for you. You may feel like you're trying to feel a certain movement or a certain change in your movement, but the back and forth, back and forth with no clear intent or picture of what you're actually trying to accomplish makes it very jittery, makes it look very doubtful. It looks like you're searching for something. That's not what we want. When we're trying to make changes to your golf swing, when we're trying to make changes to the movement pattern, we want to be very concise with a lot of intent. So what I prefer a lot of people do is to, when they make their practice swings, for example, let's just say you're working on width, for example. Let's just say you're working on, actually let's talk about trying to make sure your arms and torso move together and sync up in the backswing, right? I prefer people to do one smooth practice swing and stop together for 3 seconds at the top so you can really feel the reference of where you're trying to get to. We do it slow so your awareness, you can have a better chance of being aware of what's actually moving during this practice. You stop for 3 seconds, then you reset. Then you're actually going to hit this one, trying to recreate the same thing, and then you hit. Whatever happens, happens. When you do this, you can see that one, when I do my practice, I'm at no point ever going back and forth. Back and forth, I think, is a really poor thing for a lot of people. Bad concepts, very armsy movement. Because when you go back and forth with your arms, you're not going back and forth with your torso. If you're trying to sync up your arms and your torso, doing it in pieces like this is not going to be the way to do it. At some point, sure, you may be mapping things out in certain sections. That's okay. But you have to make sure if you're doing so, stop. You can see I stopped smoothly at that checkpoint. I'm not going back and forth. If you map things out, we don't want to do this. You can see I go way past the checkpoint and I recoil back into that place. We don't want that. That often happens when your arms are too involved, when you're using your arms to lead that movement and you're going way too fast. That's usually why you have that recoil. So we don't want recoil in the practice swings and the rehearsals. We don't want jittery movement. It has to be very concise, okay? So typically one practice before you hit. We don't want to make too many practice swings before you hit. One, you're wasting mental effort. Two, there is really no point in making 5 practice swings before you actually hit, because we all know practice swings always are different than the real swings. And what we're trying to do in the practice sessions is to bring that practice feel in the real swing as soon as we can. So one practice swing before you hit, again, for example, I'm trying to work on syncing up my arms and my torso. I very slowly do this. Stop for 3 seconds with no bouncing. I reset. Then I do exactly the same thing, same speed. And then I hit. I don't care where the ball's going to go. Neither should you initially if you're trying to change things, if you're trying to change big things, okay? So let's say one more example. Let's just say you're trying to work on your downswing. You're trying to make sure that the club is staying more behind you in the downswing to get more lag, to get more from the inside. You should never be doing this. I see a lot of that as well, pumping in the downswing, going back and forth. You don't want that either. We don't want pumping because, again, pumping usually people do with their arms, which we don't want. Typically, when people use their arms first, they throw it out this way. It's very steep. We don't want back and forth. Again, it's too jittery. It promotes too much doubt. So if you want to rehearse things in the downswing, typically I have people do, they can stop at the top, and they can very smoothly do it in one motion. They can stop wherever they want if there's a certain checkpoint, but then they reset. They don't restart from there as a general guideline, okay? So let's try this one more time. I'm going to work on the club staying more behind me. So one rehearsal, stop at the top. Make sure the club stays behind me. I feel it. I feel the club staying behind. I reset. Then just try my best to recreate that. That's all we want to try to do when we're trying to rehearse something, okay? So generally speaking, if you're trying to make changes to your golf swing, you're trying to make rehearsal swings, do one rehearsal before you hit. Don't go back and forth. Don't be jittery. Don't promote doubt. Don't be searching. Be disciplined in what you're trying to do, have intent, and be concise with your rehearsals. One rehearsal before you hit, no back and forth movements, and be confident, okay? So I hope that makes sense. Any questions, leave in the comments below, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching, everybody.